Miss Johnson, tell me what's your biggest weakness? The question slammed into the room like a dropped glass. Amira's pen froze mid-note. Every head at the conference table turned, eyes bouncing between her and Damien Cole, the man at the head of the table, the billionaire heir who ruled Cole and Partners like a king. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Weakness, she finally echoed, voice small. Yes. Damien leaned back, the fine gray of his suit stretching across broad shoulders. His storm gray eyes locked on her like a spotlight, and his lips curved. Not quite a smile, but something close. Everyone has one. What's yours? She forced a swallow. God, why me? The question wasn't on the agenda. It wasn't even professional. But the way he said it, soft, deliberate, felt like more than curiosity. Like a challenge. If only he knew. Her weakness wasn't sitting in this boardroom. It was lying in a hospital bed, breathing through tubes her paycheck couldn't cover. It was a landlord who left threats on her door. But she couldn't say that. Not here. I don't give up easily, she said finally, stretching her lips into a calm smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sometimes that makes me stubborn. Damien's brow arched, and for a split second, something flickered in his gaze. Interest? Approval. Stubborn can be dangerous, he murmured, voice low enough to prickle down her spine. But I like that. A ripple of polite laughter circled the table. Amira's cheeks burned. She hated how her pulse leapt under his stare, the stare of a man who could build or break her with a single word. Keep proving me right, Damien said, dismissing the moment with a flick of his hand. And you won't be an intern for long. Her heart fluttered at the words. They sounded like hope, like salvation. You won't be an intern for long. But as the meeting ended and the others filed out, reality smothered that flicker of hope like rain on a match. A promotion wouldn't come fast enough to save her mother. Her phone buzzed silently under the table. She didn't need to look to know who it was. The landlord, or worse, the hospital. Again. Outside, the city glittered like diamonds against the dusk sky. Amira took the elevator down, clutching her bag like a lifeline. She prayed her card would cover the cab fare. By the time she reached her tiny apartment, the stench of damp and peeling paint greeted her like an old enemy. She dumped her bag and stared at the stack of bills on the shaky table. Rent overdue, hospital demanding a deposit. Her phone rang. She answered with a trembling breath. Amira, please. Her mother's voice cracked like glass. The doctor says, if we wait any longer. I'm working on it, Mama, she whispered, biting back tears. I promise. But promises didn't pay surgeons. When the call ended, she sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling until her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, until she read the message. You looked stunning today, Miss Johnson. I would like to discuss an opportunity that could change your life. Chief Cole. Her breath caught. Chief Cole. Damien's father. A man old enough to be her grandfather, whose handshake could topple governments. She had met him once in the lobby. Powerful. Charismatic. Dangerous. The message glowed like a trap in her hands. An opportunity that could change your life. And for the first time that day, fear tasted sweeter than hope. The text replayed in her mind the entire night, glowing on the cracked screen like a warning she couldn't ignore. You looked stunning today, Miss Johnson. I would like to discuss an opportunity that could change your life. Chief Cole. Amira stared at it until her eyes burned. Chief Cole. Damien's father. A man whose name opened doors and crushed empires. Why her? She typed thank you sir, then deleted it. Typed I'm not interested, deleted that too. In the end, she did nothing, letting the silence stretch until sleep, thin and restless, dragged her under. The next day at the office, she hoped to bury herself in work. But during lunch, a black Bentley slid to the curb outside Cole and Partners. Heads turned. Conversations paused. The driver opened the back door, and there he was. Chief Adekunle Cole, power wrapped in Agbada and wealth dripping from his gold wristwatch. His salt and pepper beard gleamed under the sun. He didn't just enter the building. He owned it with every step. Amira ducked her head, praying he wouldn't notice her. But when their eyes met across the lobby, her pulse jumped. His lips curved into a slow, deliberate smile. Minutes later, her desk phone rang. "Miss Johnson." The receptionist's voice was hushed with awe. "Chief Cole would like to see you in the executive lounge." Her palms went damp. She smoothed her skirt, steadying her breath, then walked like a woman heading to a guillotine. The lounge was empty except for him, reclining like a king. He gestured to the seat opposite him. "You're prettier up close," he said with a warmth that didn't match the sharpness in his eyes. "You work hard. I admire that." "Thank you, sir," Amira replied, forcing politeness over the panic clawing her throat. He leaned forward, voice low. "You're wasted here. And in turn, bright as you are." His gaze swept over her in a way that made her skin prickle. "You deserve better. Comfort. Security. Everything you've ever wanted." Amira's stomach knotted. "Sure. I don't understand." "Oh, you do." His smile widened. "Be mine, Amira. Discreetly. I'll take care of your bills, your family, your future. A luxury apartment, a car, anything you desire." Her breath caught. His words felt like poison wrapped in silk. I can't." She pushed back her chair, ready to flee, but his voice stopped her cold. "Think about it," he said smoothly, pulling out a sleek black card and sliding it across the table. "When life gets too heavy, call me. I'll make it light." Amira left the room on trembling legs, clutching the card like a sin. Outside, the city roared on, oblivious to the war raging inside her. She told herself she wouldn't call. She told herself she'd find another way. But that night, when her mother's voice broke through the phone, "Amira, the doctor says surgery must happen this week," her heart splintered. The card burned in her palm. And this time she didn't throw it away. Rain hammered the rusted roof of Amira's apartment that night like the sound of a ticking clock, each drop a cruel reminder of time running out. She sat on the edge of her bed, her mother's voice still echoing in her ears. "Amira, please. The doctor says. If we delay any longer." Her phone lay beside her. The black card chief had given her burning holes in her conscience. His words replayed in a slow, taunting loop. "When life gets too heavy, call me. I'll make it light." Her rent was overdue. The hospital demanded a deposit by morning. Every option was gone except one. The one that made her stomach twist in shame. Her fingers shook as she dialed the number. Rang once. "Amira." His deep voice filled her ear, rich with certainty, as if he knew she would call. "I've been expecting you." I need help," she whispered. The words tasted like ashes. "Of course you do. Send me your address." Her throat closed. What have I done? By the time the Bentley purred to a stop outside her building, Amira's soul felt heavier than ever. Chief stepped out, his agbada flowing, his presence sucking the air from the street. Neighbors peeked through curtains as he opened the rear door for her like a gentleman in a twisted fairy tale. "Come," he said softly, his voice laced with triumph. The ride to his penthouse was silent, save for her heartbeat pounding like a drum. When they arrived, the elevator doors slid open to a world dripping with gold and sin, glass walls, marble floors, a chandelier that could pay her bills 10 times over. Chief handed her a glass of wine. She didn't drink. She held it anyway, hands trembling. "You're nervous," he said, smiling as he walked toward her slowly, like a predator savoring the hunt. "I've never done this," she admitted, voice breaking. He cupped her chin, tilting her face up. His hands were surprisingly soft for someone so ruthless. "Then let me teach you how easy survival can be." When his lips brushed her cheek, bile rose in her throat. She stood frozen, every nerve screaming to run. But behind his touch, she saw her mother lying in a hospital bed, frail and waiting. She let him kiss her. Hours later, she stood under a scalding shower, scrubbing her skin raw until it burned. She wanted to peel it off, to shed the shame clinging like oil. Her sobs drowned in the roar of the water. In the corner of the marble bathroom, a sleek designer handbag and a keycard to a luxury apartment sat on the counter, proof of the bargain she had just made. Amira slid to the floor, naked and trembling, whispering to herself like a prayer and a curse all at once. Just for now. Just until Mama gets better. But deep down she knew the truth. There's no such thing as just for now in a deal with the devil. The office buzzed with energy the next morning, but all Amira could feel was the phantom weight of Chief's touch. She adjusted her silk blouse, the first expensive thing she had ever owned. The sleek designer bag dangling from her wrist screamed luxury, but inside her chest felt hollow. She walked into the open floor, conscious of eyes following her. Whispers floated like smoke. When did she start wearing Chanel? Interns don't make that kind of money. Amira kept her chin high, her heart pounding. She didn't want Damien to notice. But of course he did. He was leaning against the glass wall of his office when she walked in, a dark suit hugging his frame, gray eyes cool and unreadable. But they dragged over her like a storm, lingering too long on the bag, the shoes, the sudden glow. "Miss Johnson," he said, voice low and clipped. "A word." She followed him inside, nerves tangled tight. He closed the door, and the silence pressed against her like a wall. "New look," he said finally, eyes narrowing. "Designer, everything. Did we start paying interns 6 figures?" The bite in his tone cut her deeper than she expected. "I saved up," she lied, forcing a smile. Damien's jaw flexed. "Be careful, Amira. This industry eats people alive when they start reaching too fast." His gaze softened slightly. "You're better than shortcuts." Her throat closed. If only he knew. "Thank you, sir," she whispered, gripping the edge of her folder like a lifeline. He watched her for a beat too long, then turned away abruptly. "That'll be all." By evening, guilt chewed her insides raw. Damien believed in her. He defended her ideas in meetings, shielded her from office politics, even stayed late once to help her finish a project. He made her feel seen, like more than a transaction. So why did she feel like a fraud every time he looked at her? Her phone buzzed. "Eve. Dinner. Sharp. Wear the black dress I sent. Don't be late." The message wasn't a request, it was a command. Her stomach twisted. She typed "can't tonight, too much work," then deleted it. Her hands shook as she slid the phone into her bag. Minutes later, Damien appeared at her desk. "Working late." His voice was softer now, curious. "Why yes," she stammered, hiding the panic in her eyes. "Good," he said with a half smile that could melt stone. "I'll stay too. Could use the company." Her heart slammed against her ribs. The man she wanted, the man who made her feel alive, standing there offering something real, while another man owned her in the shadows. And in that moment, Amira knew this was a game she couldn't play for long without losing everything, maybe even herself. The office was quiet, the hum of computers fading as the last employees left. Amira sat at her desk, eyes fixed on the spreadsheet before her, but the numbers blurred. She wasn't thinking about work. She was thinking about Damien, about the way his gaze lingered earlier, like he was reading her soul and finding secrets she fought to hide. "Still here." His voice rolled through the silence like velvet. She looked up and there he was, leaning casually against the glass wall, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. His hair, usually precise, was slightly tousled, making him look more human, more dangerous. "I had to finish this," she murmured, trying to keep her voice steady. Damien walked over, his presence wrapping around her like heat. He glanced at her screen, then at her face. "You've done more in 3 months than most people here do in a year." His tone softened. "You know that, right?" She swallowed hard. Compliments from him always felt like something more, something intimate. "I'm just trying to prove myself." "You already have." He leaned closer, one hand on her desk, his scent filling her senses, clean, expensive and male. "But you never talk about yourself." No family. No one waiting at home. Her chest tightened. Don't break. Don't cry. I have my mom, she said quietly. She's not well. Concern flickered in his eyes, genuine and unguarded. Why didn't you say something? Because it's not your problem. She forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Amira. His voice dropped a whisper now. You don't always have to carry the weight alone. Something inside her cracked. The walls she'd built trembled under the warmth of his words. For a moment, the world shrank to just him. His voice, his nearness, the way his hand brushed hers when he passed her a pen. Electricity shot through her, sharp and sweet. Their eyes locked. The air thickened. She felt her heart pounding against her ribs like it wanted out. Damien! Her voice barely existed. His gaze dipped to her lips, lingering there too long, then back to her eyes. For a heartbeat, the universe held its breath. But then her phone buzzed on the desk, shattering the spell. Eve. The screen flashed his name like a curse. Where are you? Black dress. Now. Her stomach plummeted. Damien straightened slowly, jaw tightening as his eyes flicked to the phone, then back to her face. Something dark passed through his expression, a question he didn't voice. You should go, he said finally, stepping back, voice clipped now. It's late. Amira grabbed her bag with trembling hands, guilt clawing at her throat as she walked away from the man who made her feel alive. Straight into the arms of the man who owned her in chains of gold. And for the first time, she hated herself enough to wonder if love would ever forgive her. Please like and subscribe to get notified when part 2 drops with more drama unfolding in Amira's life.